There were a couple events that transpired last night that really, really, really put a shit-eating grin on my face. And where does that saying come from, by the way? Shit-eating grin. At what point throughout the course of history was somebody ever eating shit and that caused them to grin? They were happily eating shit?
Good. Is it?
I don't know. That's one of those things. Yeah, I can Google it. But some things deserve to be left ungoogled. I don't want my internet service provider. Oh, because they're reading all your stuff. They're reading every last thing you've ever Googled. And I don't want where did the term shit-eating grin stem from to show up on my search history.
Not so bad.
Number one, obviously, I brought up the Chucky the Doll bet yesterday, the Jamie Benn under 2.5 shots. I bring it up. Game one has 15 shots in the first period, then goes under. And then I give the under 2.5 shots on goal for Jamie Benn. He's sitting at 2. And then he gets to center ice. I forget what point this was in the third period. One time in college, I had to fill in for a goalie. And if you've ever played goalie, you know it's very easy to leave your arms on the crossbar to just chill. And the coach saw that, turned towards me, and blasted a slap shot as if to say, like, you're not ready, something could go in. And I'll never forget, as I see him winding up, I just grabbed the shaft of my stick and I blasted the thing out like a fungo in baseball. He blasted it and I nailed it back out at him. And that's the kind of slap shot that Jamie Benn blasted. You never see this. He just looked up from center ice and looked like he was trying to put it through the goalie's head because he wasn't paying attention. It was like he was looking at all of us. It was like the Chucky thing. He goes, oh yeah, I'm staying under for an extra ticket, blasting a slap shot directly from center ice. That was number one. And number two, which is probably even funnier than that, I can't even begin to tell you the last two plays that I gave on the YouTube shorts. 2 days ago, the Tyler Toffoli, and yesterday, the Ivan Barbashev. Those are my favorite plays. Those are the best plays NHL sports bets will ever have to offer. A mispriced fourth liner. By the way, look at all the teams. They don't list the fourth liners because they don't want you to be able to take the unders on them. And I made those videos because they were so good that I wanted to get them to the YouTube. And I'm back to back against all odds. Barbashev gets a point yesterday. I can only imagine what the scoundrel gargoyle maniacs are commenting on. If you're even semi-regular out there, anytime you get a mispriced guy on a line, that's the best bet the NHL has to offer. And at least we saw some fruits of this sniff with the Edmonton Oilers game. We took the Oilers money line because of the special teams and power play goal after power play goal after power play goal went in. And because Fogle had that fourth line demotion, he remained off the score sheet, and we were able to get them at plus money. Then those Evander Kane shots came through. That same under 6.5 in the Vegas Golden Knights game. So there was a lot of stuff that I liked on that Wednesday. And look, if you've known me, I value laughs over what. That's just funny to me. The blasted slap shot to make everybody lose their bet as if he knows you're all betting. Go back and watch that slap shot. It looks like he knew that you had a bet in. Go, oh yeah? I'm not going over it. Boom! Slap shot all the way from the red line towards the net. Anyway, I can talk about all this stuff because we only have one game on a Thursday here. We have the Toronto Maple Leafs against all odds. The chalky mindset, they thought that Boston was going to wrap it up at home. And now, what's the new chalky mindset? Oh my God, Boston lost in Game 5 when they were up 3-1 in the opening round to the Panthers. They lost that one in overtime, then they lost in the series. Well, the first thing I'll say is this Toronto Maple Leafs team is not that Panthers team because that Panthers team is clearly miles better than the Toronto Maple Leafs. So this game, once again, is going to be a difficult one to try to predict. I will predict that the Boston Bruins are not going to take this opportunity for granted. The majority of those players were on the ice for that loss against the Florida Panthers. And the majority of these Leafs players have been on the ice for disappointing effort after disappointing effort after disappointing effort. Why was the Leafs' effort so bad in Game 4? And am I to just expect that now they're just going to put forth some great efforts. They had a great effort in game 2 in Boston. It looked like the series was going to be completely flipped. They dominated the back half of that game, and then what? Lost 2 straight at home. So I'm not just going to hop on this Leafs bandwagon, especially without Austin Matthews, potentially. And I know they won the last game without him. I think that game had more to do with Boston's effort than it did with Toronto. Like, Toronto played a clean game, a simple game. Woe played great. But I think it's going to be a much bigger task to take out Boston once again. And the first thing that I'm going to go with is the first thing that I went with yesterday, and something you better get ready to hear a whole hell of a lot more. Yeah, that's right. You can bump this one up. The bump it up under 6.5 in this game between Toronto and Boston. You know how Boston wants to play. If Austin Matthews is limited, or he's probably not going to play, then you know how the Leafs need to win it. The Leafs know how they won the last game, and this game is probably going to try to follow the same script in their minds. And Boston doesn't mind playing physical, low-scoring, grinded-out games. So this one also smells like an under 6.5 to me. Yes, you can take that 5.5. I just hate the thought of a 3-2 third period. Like, the game ended up 3-2 in Dallas. You would have had to sweat out that full 2 minutes of the empty net, couple missed shots at that empty net. I just can't deal with that. Instead, if I wanted to get it at a better price, you want to know what I'll do? I'll add Mr. We always used to take him for an assist, because the guy seemingly never scores, hasn't scored once in this series, but we're getting a decent price on his under half of a goal. So I'll take the under 6.5 with the under half of a goal on a Mr. Pavel Zacha. No pasta, add Zacha for under a goal. And if you add that to the under 6.5, that will give you a -110, which is a lot better than the -160 that you're getting the under 6.5 with on its own. Also in that game, because I think it's going to be low scoring, I think listing at some of these Leafs at 1.5 points on their point prop is pretty ludicrous. I borderline even want to say if Austin Matthews plays. The reason those guys are usually good for 1.5 points throughout the course of the season is because their power play is one of those 5 power plays I bring up every year. Them, the Avalanche, Tampa, the Rangers, it's nasty, and the Oilers. Those are the big 5 that year after year after year they're producing. They're not producing at all in this series. So I think asking those Toronto Maple Leafs to go over 1.5 points with mostly 5-on-5 play, that's a tall order. So I'll go under 1.5 points for Mitch Marner, who played a pretty good game yesterday. He's going to be on that top line once again, most likely, with Max Domi and Tyler Bertuzzi. And because he's such a good passer, that obviously opens up shot opportunities for the both of those players. I'll leave that up to you to decide if you want to. I'm not going to go down that path, because we also have to see if Austin Matthews is playing. But I think the price that we're getting right now on William Nylander, we got plus like 125, or was it 135 with the over 3.5 shots last game. Now I think the sports books are a little more pessimistic about Austin Matthews playing. So I think we're getting the Austin Matthews probably isn't playing price, but we don't know for sure. So we're not going to make it -125. We're going to start it off at -105. But if we find out Matthews isn't playing, we're going to make it -125. The over 3.5 shots on goal for William Nylander. Right now, I'm seeing it at -105. That's a price I definitely like. If you think that Matthews isn't going to play, then you get that price in as early as you possibly can. That's something that I like once again. And like I said, I like the under 1.5 points for Mitch Marner. Anything other than that, as Hulk Hogan once said in those commercials, would be uncivilized. I would really be reaching. There is one thing, if you need something on the Bruins side, some of those guys like DeBrusk, who are hot earlier in the series, they kind of went cold. I'm looking at the over 1.5 shots on goal for Charlie McAvoy, one of the leaders on that team. He's playing 26 minutes per night, and he's hit this in 3 straight games after 2 games of kind of going under that. But he's obviously been more involved. And what I think is because that Marchand power play starts the power plays, because they've been clearly the better power play. Although they've done a hybrid thing lately where, like, after 30 seconds, they send out Pasternak and whatnot. But since McAvoy's been on that, I think there's no coincidence, since that's been the first power play out. McAvoy's hitting his over 1.5 in each of those games. So I think that's a good strategic play, the over 1.5 shots on goal For old Charlie McAvoy. They have a Charlie Coyle and a Charlie McAvoy. Is there even another? Oh, no, there's Charlie Lee. How many? I don't know. No, I know one Charlie. That was a lot of Charlie dialogue where I quickly just stumbled into the answers. I can figure out how many Charlies there are in the league if I just sit around and think about. What I can't figure out is where the term shit-eating grin came from. I'll leave that for you guys to debate with each other in the comments. Good luck to you. Better luck to me. Make sure that you are subscribed here to my YouTube channel. And I think you would have done yourself a favor by joining the Patreon because, yes, the Barbashev did not work out. But what came along with that Barbashev information was what I said once I saw the line rushes and I saw that Johnston was going back with Stankoven and Ben. Once I knew Marchment was out, and this is why all this stuff is the most important. Marchment out, which puts Stankoven on the second power play alongside Wyatt Johnston in a home game where Johnston's clearly been hot. I took the assist for Stankoven, point for Wyatt Johnston, plus 300. And also because he got moved off the top line, and then Pavelski got reinserted to the top line. What does that mean? More shooting opportunities for Jason Robertson. Because if you move Johnston down, then that's taking a shooter off his line, and then an old, slow, decrepit crypt keeper in Joe Pavelski, which is going to open shooting opportunities. He nailed that over 2.5 in the first period. And we also took the under on William Karlsson because he's clearly injured, and he's missing all their practices, gutting through the games, but he's got mediocre line mates. I think they tried something different towards the end of the game. I'll keep an eye on that, but that's the kind of stuff you get over there on the Patreon. You can always join by going to patreon.com/AndyFrancis or click my face on that $100 bill that pops up probably right about now. All right, guys, I will see you tomorrow for some Friday Sniffs. Good luck.